forever. Welcome to your start at living an ageless lifestyle.
By becoming a member, you will look and feel ageless. You will receive lifetime full access, and you will join a growing community.
Our community is all about being positive
and building each other up.
On this site, things to expect are various educational resources, exclusive video content, as well as consultation discounts. Before I step into a meeting with these clients, I just wanted to say I am so excited for you to join the Ageless Lifestyle community. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our world. And I just wanted to welcome Kimberly Akers. And here's the deal with Kimberly. Kimberly has been, and Kimberly is from Amada Home Health Care. Kimberly has been part of my world for longer than she knew she was part of my world. And I'm so honored to have you here today and to talk about Amada Home Health Care and all of the services that you provide, because it comes so near and dear to my heart. And Kimberly goes so above and beyond for anything that I've ever even dreamed of. And I know that with my mom, when my mom needs home health care, that's who I'm calling. So, and y'all know how I feel about my mom because she was on here. And anything that's good enough for my mom is good enough for everybody, all of you that are watching. So welcome.
Thank you, Stacey.
Kimberly. And I'm so glad to have you. So let's get into it. So
yeah,
let's talk about like, how'd you even get into this business? Why did you get into this business? Because it's not pretty.
No,
this is not a pretty business.
Messy, but you know what? Life is messy, but beautiful at the same time.
Amen.
Right? You really have to just focus on some of the beauty, but even though there's mess in it. So how did I get involved? Well, obviously that's a mess. After being an educator and also selling educational textbooks. For many years, I kind of had this epiphany along with a journey of my grandparents aging, as well as my dad aging with dementia. I had this epiphany of, I'm ready to serve and educate in a different way. I love education. I love serving, but let's do it on a different, spectrum. Right. So the senior perspective. Spectrum. So I started researching home care businesses, care in the home, and I came across Amada Senior Care. And you know him.
Yes.
You know Tafa Jefferson.
Who's the founder of Amada.
Yes.
Fabulous human being.
So yes, any of your listeners need to look up Tafa Jefferson, but he's a former NFL player. So he walks into a room and he just commands the room. Right? Like 6'8", like big guy.
Yes.
But
so much love though.
I was just about to say, you look at him and some of it is a little intimidating, but when you talk to him,
his heart, it's all out there.
It's all there. It's such a heart. And so when he created Amada Senior Care after an injury in the NFL, and he's going, what next? And so he also has a journey of his mother being a caregiver. And I just resonated with his heart. The mission of Amada, of enriching lives. That's our mission, is to enrich lives.
Awesome.
And I just resonated with it.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah. Just went all in.
Okay, good.
Hashtag all in.
I love that. And I am hashtag all in as well, because you've done nothing more than just provide incredible care and peace of mind for anybody I've ever referred you to. I appreciate that. So let's kind of, home health care or just the need for care is such a broad topic right now. And it's one of the most confusing and misunderstood. And first of all, I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands this is the silent side of Medicare. This is not and I repeat with a capital NOT, covered by Medicare.
Yep,
So when
not.
people get to you, they're in a need for care and they say, what do I have as far as my insurance goes that covers it? So let's talk a little bit about like home health care versus facility care, all the different things.
Right.
Break it
right.
down for us.
So if I could break it down, I
Yeah.
love how you said, it's not Medicare covered. So a lot of people are under the impression that home care is Medicare covered. It is not. You have home health, which is therapy in the home.
So that just means like
that-
physical therapy,
Yep.
speech therapy. That's not somebody coming in and feeding, bathing,
Exactly. So that's the
companion.
difference there.
Okay.
So then home care, which is what Amada Senior Care does, we provide all of the what we call activities of daily living, helping with the showering, dressing, bathing. I already said that, but transferring.
Mm-hmm.
We can do meal prep, laundry, errands, reminder of prescriptions or medications. So it's kind of that surrogate adult daughter.
Okay.
If that makes sense, right? You just have somebody in the home kind of overseeing all of your needs, whether they're, non-medical in nature, making sure that the vacuum is run every week, just making your environment livable so you can be independent in your home.
Okay.
So that is home care. Facility based is where you're going to an assisted living or a memory care or a residential care home.
Okay.
And you're actually moving out of your home.
Right. And do you help people with placement of that or not really?
We
Okay.
do.
Okay.
Yes.
And now talk about the difference, because I think that's still a confusing bit of what your care provider or what your care is providing and the medically necessary. So your people don't do any, if somebody's got wounds or if they need help with physical therapy, none of that is done.
None of that.
Okay.
Right. We call it all non-medical.
Okay. So non-medical.
So let me kind of give you, if that's okay. So when I meet with a family.
That was my next thing. Talk about the breakdown of when you meet with a family.
Yeah. When I meet with a family, many times it's a process. Everybody's trying to wrap their heads around this.
Yeah.
And so I paint a picture of what maybe a typical visit would look like. And usually a typical visit is about 4 hours or more.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not kind of an in and out thing.
Good.
So 4 hours, you might think like it's somebody coming in and saying, "Hi, Mrs. Jones. Good morning." Like, let's go ahead and get today started.
Yeah.
And so kind of going through that morning routine of the personal hygiene, whether it's, needing to kind of clean up from the night.
Okay.
Sometimes, as we get older.
Yeah.
Stacy, I mean,
I know.
things happen.
Yeah.
So maybe
especially for women.
Right? So, kind of need to freshen up, make sure that we're taking care of personal hygiene, getting dressed.
Yeah.
Getting any medications, then sitting down and having a breakfast.
Oh, yes.
And coffee, right? And so kind of getting your day going. It's really important as we age to continue with routines.
Right.
And especially with cognitive impairment, our routines sometimes get really thrown off and then we're more awake at night. So having somebody in the home to kind of keep us in that, rhythm.
Right.
Of this is the daytime. This is what we usually do during the daytime.
Right.
And then so, then the caregiver is kind of cleaning up after breakfast, maybe putting on a load of laundry, changing the sheets on the bed.
That's so nice.
And then saying, "Hey, it is March here in Arizona. Let's get outside. Let's go do, some walking outside." And then they might come back in and play a game and do some socialization. And then it might be, again, another kind of household task as far as maybe dusting or cleaning up the bathroom and then preparing lunch. So, things don't always happen quickly with seniors. You have to go kind of
Very slow.
But then it's also that one-on-one personalization.
Right.
And socialization is so important.
There's so many lonely seniors right now. I mean, it's it's like 70% of all seniors are just really sad and lonely at home by themselves.
And
it's so sad.
And especially if it's hard for you to get out.
Right.
If you have limited mobility, it's hard for you to get out and visit your friends. And unfortunately, as we age, we'll experience this too. Our friends are all aging and they're having their own aging issues.
Yeah. So talk about if somebody is, so somebody decides that they are going to need some care. You meet with the family, which would be the ideal situation. You come up with your strategy of care.
Right. Our plan of care. Right.
And so talk about if you have, so let's talk about the 3 ways to pay for your services. I was going to talk about it later, but now it feels like the right time.
I think it's great.
So
bring it on.
Yeah. So there's the 3 ways to pay for care. The first way is to have an insurance policy. The second way is to self-pay. And the third way is to have the state come in and you become a warden of the state. So let's just talk about the perfect scenario, which is to have an insurance plan, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they have an insurance plan. Let's talk about the different ways that that's able to help in providing care.
Yeah. So most long-term care insurance policies, or even some of the health recovery policies that are so, I think that you do right now. And by the way, when you're listening to this, please touch base with Stacy. I think if you didn't and you're over 60, this is a great way that you can try to get some type of funds for your care.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So long-term care insurance, the traditional way or the hybrid models, which means that it's a life insurance and a long-term care rider. They pay for in-home care, assisted living, memory care, or residential care homes. So it really provides a peace of mind. And this is what I love, is it's a protection of your assets.
That's the best.
Right? Like I want to leave a legacy for my kids. I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, if I need to spend it all on my care, great. But I would love that I have a protection of my assets, that I'm not just like spending it down right away.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
you can pay for care.
So
for
that's
Amada senior care.
That's the ideal situation for somebody to be able to have a plan in place for you to come in and kind of tailor your care around that plan.
Yes.
Now, if somebody is self-paying and they're having to go through, they didn't put any plans in place. They thought their kids were going to take care of them and their kids can't. So they're self-paying. What does a plan like that look like? And what would be an average cost today for somebody to receive care?
Yeah. Well, in-home care, it's an hourly cost.
Okay.
And so obviously it depends on your level of care. Many people, they can just be at a maintenance, right?
And what does that look like?
So maintenance is 4 hours, maybe 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay.
Right. Some people need a little bit more, maybe every day. And we do have 24/7. People just need 24/7 care, and they're able to pay for that in their home.
Okay.
So an hourly rate is anywhere from, and as of March 2023.
Oh.
Yep. Well, because it's going to probably increase as we go through the years.
Right.
You're looking at anywhere from $35 to $40 an hour.
Holy cow.
Right.
Whoa.
Right.
Okay.
So 4 hours is already $160.
Wow.
For one day.
Wow. And I will tell you that we do have a hybrid plan that we have available through our services that does pay. They just increased the weekly benefit of $1,500 to $1,500. It was $1,200. Now they are giving $1,500. If you can qualify for this plan, it's $1,500 a week for your care, which would give you a lot of $40 an hour hours.
That is fantastic,
Yeah.
Stacey. I love that. In fact, I want to hear more about it after the show.
Yeah. Well, because what's happening is they're really talking about the fact that so many people have never put a plan in place. It's actually being referred to as the silver tsunami. And it's going to be, they say, worse of a recession because the population of people from age 65 and up is the largest population.
Mhm.
And they say that it's also the largest population that's never put a plan in place for themselves for needing care, because that was never going to happen to them. No one had any idea that modern medicine would keep us alive so much longer,
Right.
but the quality of life is not keeping up with their medical life.
Right. Not necessarily. Yeah. Even though we're living longer, it's not necessarily
The best
highest
life.
quality of life.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, and if I could just kind of capitalize on those insurance plans, this really also is a gift to your children.
Right. You're right.
It's really a gift to your children, not financially, but again, a little bit peace of mind. There's a statistic out there that most adult children that are caring for their aging parents actually lose about $500,000 in their lifetime.
Wow.
Caring for their parents, either, maybe they're not taking promotions at work, right? They're decreasing their benefits, they're going part-time, any of that nature, they're flying out for those of them that if they're out of state and mom and dad are here in Arizona, they're flying
back and forth.
And so $500,000 in their lifetime.
Wow. That's intense.
Right?
And you don't want that for your kids.
No.
Now, do you have to deal with doctors? Talk about the interaction that happens with the coordination of benefits for people. Like, how does that even happen? What do you do for that?
Well, at Amada Senior Care, we really believe in having a good team in place, right? It takes everybody. It takes your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And at Amada Senior Care, we really believe that we're the eyes and the ears because we're in the home and we're seeing those day-to-day or changes going on. We can alert the medical system. So, for example, one time we had a gentleman and he was having care 4 times a week. And that, you get to know your people very well. And the caregiver came in and he just seemed a little off. He seemed more confused than the normal.
Okay.
Right. And so she called our office and we said, okay, let's call the primary doctor. So we called the primary doctor, didn't have any appointments that day. So we actually called Dispatch Health.
Oh.
And if you haven't heard about Dispatch Health, they're a mobile urgent care.
Okay, Dispatch Health. We'll be looking into it. I'll keep you posted on the details.
So
thank you.
Dispatch Health came out. It's a mobile urgent care. We'll use their Medicare.
Yeah.
To cover the services. And the physician for Dispatch Health came out, gave a urinalysis to this gentleman.
I bet he had a UTI.
Bingo. Yeah, that's most common, lack of hydration, personal hygiene in seniors. And so, he had a UTI. So we were able to get antibiotics, fluids, things like that. So that's just one example of how we would coordinate with the healthcare system.
Yeah.
Because we are the eyes and ears. We do say, hey, something just doesn't seem right.
Right.
We're not sure what it is. We're not medical, but it just doesn't seem right.
Right. I want to talk about a specific example of a family's lives that you had changed. And it gets me emotional because this is a family that is very near and dear to my heart. And this hybrid plan we were able to offer to this family. It was one of my girlfriend's dads. He had Alzheimer's and wasn't sleeping at night.
Right.
And his wife wasn't able to function because he wasn't sleeping at night. We were able to put this plan in place. We were able to reach out to Kimberly and talk through like that family and that situation because it was so impactful and such a great experience for them.
It was. And I'm going to cry too, thinking of that.
I mean, they're just such special people. And it was such an awesome
family.
Opportunity for their family.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for offering that.
Yeah.
Right. You educated them about this policy and you were able to get that for him, even though he had the diagnosis
Right. Of Alzheimer's.
of Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, thank you.
No.
And so we came in and we helped kind of turn on that policy, right?
Yeah.
So they can start receiving the reimbursement, the benefits
Mhm.
to help pay for care. And we provided care at night so the wife could sleep. She was still the primary caregiver during the day, but we could just see that changed so much. It gave the daughter
Yeah.
such a peace of mind.
Yeah.
And we were there for, I think, a whole maybe year and a half or 2 years.
Almost, you were there for 2 years,
Yeah.
and he was just getting ready to go into his going off of claim for a little while, and he passed.
Right.
And but they couldn't have done life in his final years and given him the dignity that he deserved without you. And that was so incredible. And they couldn't have afforded. How much would that have cost them?
Oh my gracious.
I mean, you were with them, I think, eight hours a day for 5 days, right?
Probably 10 hours at night, 10 to 12 hours at night.
Okay, for 5 days. So that's
So if you think about
50
it,
hours
mhm.
times $40.
Yep. You do the math.
That's a lot of money.
2,000.
2,000. My team's
2,000.
my team's doing the math here. 2,000. So,
Right.
that was giving them a week. A week. Yeah.
So,
and I know that they had to pay a little bit extra, but they had $1,200 of cushion. So they were only having to subsidize $800. And
again, peace of mind, protection of assets, a gift to your spouse and your adult children, right? It's just, it was phenomenal. And it allowed them to keep him at home because that's what they all wanted. Is a super smart man. I mean, he was a super smart man.
Yeah.
But allowed him to keep him at home.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome.
So many people want to stay at home. The statistic before COVID, there hasn't been statistics after COVID. So you just kind of have to put that as a disclaimer, right?
Yeah. BC.
Because I think it's like, after COVID, AC. It was 87% of seniors wanted to age in their own home.
Okay.
I think that's increased since COVID, right? We found that there's a lot of services that can be brought into the home.
It's amazing. Right? It's the coolest thing ever. Yeah.
And so I'm sure that percentage has increased.
Yeah. 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 So there's some negative connotations that are out there about home health care people.
Yeah.
How do you vet your people? How do you manage through any sort of complaints or, talk a little bit about that? Like, how do you make sure that you're putting, like, I would want you personally in with my family. I know I can't have you, but,
but you can have my team.
But but how do you find the ideal people?
Well, let me kind of backtrack a little bit. Is that sometimes a lot of those negative connotations come from people hiring outside of an agency. Like they're just doing it on their own. They put an ad in the paper.
So random.
And obviously that is more cost effective, but there's a higher risk because you as the family now become the employer.
Okay.
Right? You're having to figure out, okay, do we do a background check? Do we not do a background check?
Right.
How do we know this person's legit or not? But when you go with an agency like Amada Senior Care, first of all, we're doing the highest level of background checks.
Okay.
Highest level of background checks. Even before we do a background check, they have to take a written exam assessment, and they also do a demonstrative assessment. So we'll ask things like, okay, this is Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones needs to get out of the chair. Show us how you would help Mrs. Jones out of the chair.
Okay.
Right. I'm looking for people that aren't just like pulling them by the arms. Right.
Yeah.
And we look for their certification. And so it's really, we kind of do a deep dive.
Okay.
A really deep dive. So that's kind of the first process, Stacy. The second process is we do have a quality insurance process, which means that I have my staff going out there checking on things.
Okay.
Like asking Mrs. Jones, "Hey, how's Mary doing? Do you like Mary?" And she's doing that away from Mary. We make sure Mary's not there, right?
In the closet with a hammer going,
Right.
answer correctly.
So we make frequent visits
Yeah.
to see how things are going. And we always tell our families, we talked about life is messy.
Yeah.
Right? We're not all going to get along.
Right.
Mary might be an amazing caregiver with some skills, but her and Mrs. Jones the
Don't match.
personalities just don't match.
Right.
Yes, we want to know that, and we're going to work to find the right match.
Okay. That's a big help.
Oh, huge. You have to feel comfortable in your home.
Mm-hmm.
You have to feel comfortable and want to build a rapport with that person.
Okay. Yeah, because I know, in the past, there have been agencies where people will come and, the new set of sheets is missing and the blenders are missing. And, that happens because they think that, the person's not alert, but the family members know what's there and what's not there. So,
well, and when I sit down with families, I'm very real. I feel like I'm relatable. I mean, I'm adult child of a baby boomer.
mm-hmm.
I say it like it is. Put cameras in the home.
Yeah.
I'm not.
You're okay with that?
I'm okay with that.
Good.
I think the more eyes, the better.
Yeah. Well,
We're
that's
all
good.
in this together. So let's work together.
Yeah. Do you have the ability if somebody needs like a chairlift or durable medical equipment? Do you have the ability to recommend? Do you help with that? Do you have people that you recommend for those sort of things?
I do. And that's one of the reasons that I also build, I think, a very good rapport with our families is because I love to educate just like you
mm-hmm.
and provide resources. One of my favorite sayings is, you don't know what you don't know.
Yes.
Right. And so if I see something, I may be able to say, you know what? I think this would be a great benefit to your mom. Why don't you call Stacy? Why don't you call Sarah at this place?
Right.
And explore that a little bit more.
Okay.
I think that would be a great, yes, we provide resources from briefs. The briefs that we wear, Depends is not always the best from the grocery store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. Who would have known?
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Who do you recommend?
So I recommend Tranquility.
Okay.
Which is the best product. And you can find that at Comfort Plus online.
Comfort Plus. Tranquility. If you need the Depends. Oi. Yeah, there's just so many people that are in need. Kimberly said as we were sitting here getting ready that she had already met with 4 families today that are in need of people. Is there a lack of caregivers that are happening right now? Where are you able to find people? Or if you are a caregiver, how do they find you?
Oh, well, find us, please, if you're a caregiver. Yes, find us. Just look us up, 480-999-5250, or look up Amada Senior Care in Mesa, Arizona. Where do we find them? All over, honestly.
Okay.
We are out looking and looking. We're on Indeed.
Okay.
We actually have a couple of ads in churches, believe it or not.
That's a smart thing.
We have a lot of people that have retired and they're ready for rehire.
Okay.
So they're not ready to go, they don't want to work 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
But they want to earn something and they want to give back.
Okay, good.
So we have actually some 60-year-olds working for us as well.
Awesome.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
I love it. Because they can relate and, it's
perfect.
And it gives them a purpose as well.
Absolutely. Well, good. Okay. Well, so let's just kind of recap here. And just, when does somebody reach out to you when they feel like they need the care? Is it like right away when they feel like it's happening? Do they do research? Are they able to just call you and say, okay, come and let's talk about this?
Wow, that's great. Well, everybody's story is different, right? I will get those urgent calls that we're being discharged from the hospital tomorrow.
Right.
And the wife is not able to care for the husband, any kind of scenario needing some help. So we do get those urgent kind of last minute needing help calls.
Okay.
I also get calls from mainly it's the concerned adult daughters, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Concerned adult daughters saying, what is our next step? What do we do? How do I help? How do I navigate this with my parents?
Right.
So sometimes it's starting to educate the whole family there.
Okay.
And many times I get calls because of their long-term care insurance. That's our specialty, is helping people understand their policies.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we kind of walk through that and educate them when it's time. And I have people all the time that will call me, Kim, this happened. Is it time to start my policy? Is it not time? And so, we're a resource for that.
Okay.
So I don't know if I answered your question, but there's just many different ways that people will
start it.
And many times, honestly, it's kind of a slow process.
Yes.
Sometimes if there hasn't been a crisis, it's maybe starting slow.
Yeah. And do you need a doctor recommendation for you to start services?
No, you just need to be able to pay for it.
Yeah, just got to pay for it. But, I've had just this last week 2 clients that were released from the hospital with them thinking they had an order of care that was going to happen for them when they got out of the hospital. And somehow the order of care didn't happen and never wound up on their records. So that was a bummer. And so, again, Medicare is not your care. Your kids are not your care.
No.
Kimberly at Amada Home Health Care is your care. Okay, great. And so, I wanted to thank you so much. I just wanted to recap really quick that, there's the 3 ways to take care of getting care. And it's, an insurance policy, self-pay, or spend down to your last $2,000. Are you able to help people in a spend down situation or not so much?
That is not my specialty, Stacy.
Okay.
And, I would try to see if there's any other way before spending down your assets.
Yeah.
If sometimes that is the only way, spending down your assets and going on state funding, you're just going to have sometimes the care that state funding can afford.
Yeah. Yeah. Like there was one on the news, I don't know, a couple of years ago that was not really great news coverage from the care they were providing. So look into that. And so where can they find you besides, are you on social media anywhere? Where are you?
Yeah. So I'm on social media. We are on Facebook. We kind of stay on Facebook because we feel like my generation is the one looking mostly still.
Yeah.
And we're still Facebookers.
Okay, good.
I'll turn to the Instagram yet. So Facebook, you can find us at amadamesa.com. We cover the whole East Valley.
Okay.
So even though our office is in Mesa, we cover the whole valley.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll put a link in.
I will put a link.
Notes for us. But I just can't stress enough that it's really important to start making a plan. And if I can, I had this one gentleman. Do we have time?
Yeah, absolutely.
I had this one gentleman. He was a former NBA player. So he's like 6'8", right?
Big dude.
And why they marry somebody like really short, I don't know. Right. But he brought me to his house and he has a long-term care policy and he sat down and, you could see the scars on his knees, right? Just from multiple knee surgeries. And I said, why am I here? And I said, you seem like you're doing okay. And he's like, you know what? These knees are wearing out and it's going to be hard for me to get in and out of a chair soon and on and off the toilet. And my adult daughters, he had 3 adult daughters that lived within 2 miles.
Yeah.
And he said, the day that happens is the day I'm calling you, Kim, because that's when I'll start service with you, because I don't want my adult daughters. I mean, this made me cry.
I love that.
I don't want my adult daughters. They would if I asked them, but I don't want my adult daughters to have to get me off the toilet. I want to keep my relationship in a certain way with my adult daughters, and they would do it if I asked them, but I don't want them to. Like, I just,
love that.
Right?
Yeah, because the whole relationship changes when that happens. You go from like parent, child to caregiver, patient.
Yeah.
And that is definitely not a good relationship.
So it was within 3 months. I mean, he knew it was coming, right?
Yeah.
That he knew that it was going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
And I just love that story. I just love that he had the foresight to say,
he put a plan in place.
This is what I'm going to do. This is the time that I will get help. I will not be prideful of it. I am going to get help.
I love that.
Right?
And you just provide whatever care they need whenever they need it.
Yep.
You assess the situation. One other really quick thing though, for like all of the paperwork and stuff, and you document all of that. You take care of all of the paperwork, all the claims, all of that stuff, right?
Yes. So that's what really differentiates Amada Senior Care is we are the long-term care insurance experts. So it takes about 50 hours of back-end work.
Okay.
In order to make a claim approved and successful.
Okay.
Even with the gentleman that we were talking about earlier with his policy.
Yeah.
It took a lot of
I remember
work.
it was taking a long time.
It took a lot. So we stick with you and we make sure that we're doing that, because I'm sure the family has so much more that they need to worry about. So let us worry about the whole insurance part.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. I was just looking. I don't think there's any questions. I think everybody is good. So yeah, I think we're good. Perfect. And if you have any questions afterwards, then please feel free to reach out to me. I will put a link for you to be able to get a hold of Kimberly. And please just go to our website, click the link in the show notes, and just at least have a free consultation with one of our team just to see if you qualify for a plan in place, just to talk about what your plans are, have your kids with you, and let's just do this together. And then we circle Kimberly in, and there are Amada Home Health Care
across the country.
Right. In fact, when I said that I loved Kimberly before I met Kimberly, I have a really strong relationship with the Amada representative out of Colorado, who is one of my favorite heroes on the planet. And so there are Amada Home Health Care agencies all over the United States. So we would just find wherever you are and plug you into somebody that is equally awesome as Kimberly. Ken is amazing, and
Ken is amazing.
And I mean, he makes my heart beat really fast because he's so incredible with people. And so just everybody within their company is as fabulous and such a blessing and gift as you are. So I really appreciate you, and thank you for your time. And again, click the link to schedule an appointment.
Yes,
and
please.
Yeah. And we're so grateful that you're here. So have a happy rest of your day, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Stacy.
Yeah.